This award that has been bestowed upon me is very flattering. I honestly feel that my talents are not worthy of the recognition that I have received. In reflection upon why I was lucky enough to win this award, I've attempted to understand what perhaps distinguished me from all those other so talented law students. I believe I have part of the answer, and I hope that answer is also a challenge to all of you. Before law school, you've heard a little bit about my past. I knew nothing about the law, even less about being a trial lawyer. I know very little now, actually. So ignorant of the law, I was frightened of law school. So I decided to call the best trial attorney in our area. His name was Frank Bailey. When I called Mr. Bailey's office, I got the receptionist, and she said, "We're not hiring, thank you very much," and pretty much hung up on me. I called back 2 days later and said, "Well, I'd like an interview." She said, "Sach, we're not hiring, thank you very much." Pretty much hung up on me again. I waited 2 days, I called back again. I said, "I'd like to spend just 5 minutes with Mr. Bailey." And he accepted. When I spoke with Mr. Bailey, I basically explained my predicament, my ignorance of the law. I told him I had nothing legally to offer him. However, if he would let me mow his yards and trim his hedges and file whatever he told me to file, if he would just let me hang out with him, I could learn a little bit about the lingo in law school. And he said yes. And since that time, in 3 years of law school, he's allowed me to attend every single deposition that I so chose. He's taken me to every trial that our firm has tried. He even allowed me to sit second chair in a wrongful death case. In preparation for preparation for trial, we conduct focus groups. He would allow me to either present the plaintiff or the defense case. He literally turned over the reins to me as a law student, which I'm told is hard for some attorneys to do. Because of that learning experience, I learned so much from Mr. Bailey. The clerkship that I had at the law firm was like no other, and while I was experiencing it, I took it for granted. Looking back now, I believe it gave me an edge. What I've learned from Mr. Bailey is immeasurable and hard to describe. This trial competition has made me realize how influential other people have been in my life. I assure you, I would not be standing in front of you today if it were not because, number one, I have an outstanding mentor, Frank Bailey. Number two, my trial coach, former trial coach now, had unending expertise in the courtroom, Mike Mullane. And number three, my co-counsel and best friend throughout all of these trial competitions is an absolute genius, Clark Tucker. So every time throughout this long journey in the practice of law that I reflect on this competition, it will remind me to give back to others. It will remind me to try to become a person of influence in someone else's life. So finally, in conclusion, I told you that what did Mr. Bailey as my mentor teach me that I think distinguished me? He has taught me how to present myself with confidence and humility in the same stroke. And I'm trying to make that a practice in my life as I have been able to portray that when I'm giving a presentation. He's taught me that it is one thing to accomplish greatness, it is another to share your greatness. I challenge each of you in this room to share your greatness. Share your accomplishments, your stories and hardships. I beg of you, seek out a young legal mind that you believe has potential. And remember, without someone like you as a mentor, someone such as myself may never realize their true potential. Thank you for this opportunity.